Well, now that we've all had a couple of days to process what happened to President Donald Trump on Thursday, I got looking back at some of the coverage leading up to the verdict, and there was an interview that really stuck out in my mind. It was an interview with James Comey over on, I believe it's News Nation. And James Comey was telling the host that he had absolutely no doubt it was going to come back a uh, verdict of guilty on all 34 counts. And even the host was kind of like, I don't know, you don't think there's any possibility there is a hung jury? Now, why would a host on a liberal news network, and a liberal host at that, say that? CNN, PMSNBC, they were all beside themselves going into the verdict. That's why Robert De Niro was rolled out to do that unhinged rant that he did, yelling F you at the Trump supporters and calling them gangsters. Who's the gangster? Who's the one out there saying F you? And when he was being F you'd, he was looking at the camera saying, see, this is all the fault of Trump. Trump did this to people. Really? Because you were the one, Mr. De Niro, that went to the Tony Awards and, I got just two things to say, F Trump. And the place went wild. You're the one that made the video about wanting to punch him in the face, that he was he was a low life, a maggot, etc. So Trump did not create the culture. He may be a reflection of it, but he certainly didn't create this hostile culture. Now, when I listened to that James Comey interview for the second time, and he was very calm and confident, no, it's going to be a guilty verdict. It'll be unanimous on all 34 counts. And then, of course, he has to throw in that, justice will prevail bullhawk crap, because that is not at all what this judgment reflects. There are people saying, well, a jury of his peers. Really? The people on that jury were Donald Trump's peers? And then as I thought about what James Comey said and how confidently and calmly he said it, I got thinking about what Chuck Schumer said. Remember back in 2016 when Donald Trump was on the campaign trail and he was talking about the deep state, and he was talking about the swamp, and he was talking about the intel community that wasn't very intelligent. And Chuck Schumer said, it's pretty stupid to go after the intelligence community because they've got 9 ways from Sunday to come back at you. Almost like giving us a little behind baseball, inside baseball there, that the way Congress acts, the way politicians act, is the fact that the intel community has some piece of dirt over each and every one of them. And they get presented that dirt on, once they've been elected and assume office. And they're basically told, you will do what we tell you, or we'll reveal this secret to the world. And I am sure many of these senators get set up. I am sure that Jeffrey Epstein was used as part of an intel setup. Get all these politicians, caught on video with underage girls, and Epstein just automatically thought that granted him immunity, that, they would never, ever come after him because he was helping the Fed. Yeah, ask P. Diddy how that's all working out for him. See, when the Fed's done with you, they're done with you. When the intel community is done with you, they're done with you. So here's what I want to know. Who was the Fed plant in the jury? How many Fed plants were in the jury? Because the reason CNN, PMSNBC, the reason they were all beside themselves, the trial didn't go well for the prosecution. As far as, yes, we know the judge did everything he could to ensure the verdict. Even the instructions that he gave the jury was basically go find a crime. Because it all came down to that Donald Trump, in quote unquote paying Stormy Daniels, was being done to keep information from the American voter. Oh. And that that was a violation of federal election law. Well, the Federal Election Committee actually looked at this case 6 years ago and said there's no there there. Trump's team wanted to bring on an expert of federal election law that they were not allowed to bring on. And he would have explained to the jury the hush money paid to Stormy Daniels would only rise to the level of a violation of federal election law if it could be established that the only reason this money was being spent was to have an outcome on the election. Okay, Donald Trump has paid all kinds of people money to just quote unquote go away, as has every mega Hollywood personality, sports star, famous person. These lawsuits and accusations pop up all the time, and 90% of the time, these people they pay these people to go away, which was pretty much the case with Stormy Daniels. And if the affair did happen and Donald Trump keeps doubling down, it did not happen. Could it also be assumed that the man just didn't want his wife to find out about it? So there was no violation of a federal election law here. And by the way, if this is what they've hung him on, then yeah, I would make the argument then he is subject to a presidential pardon and could pardon himself once elected, because you twisted this into a federal crime. Because remember, part of the argument here is that Alvin Bragg shouldn't have even been allowed to bring this because he's not a federal prosecutor, he's a state prosecutor. And the judge did everything he could. I mean, he sustained all of the prosecution's objection. He overruled 95% of the defense's objections, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to know if there was a Fed on the jury. I want to know if there was a Fed that, because again, that jury sat there. They heard Cohen admit repeatedly that he was a liar, that he stole money, $30,000 to $60,000 from Donald Trump. They heard the audio of his podcast of the vendetta and the hatred he had for Donald Trump, and that he would say anything and do whatever he had to do to bring him down. The jury heard all of that. The jury had it explained to them ad nauseum from the Trump team, not from the judge, who should have done this, about this isn't a violation of federal election law. So don't tell me there wasn't at least one jurist, at least one, sitting in that jury room saying, "No, I'm not seeing a crime here. I'm just not seeing it." And when they would take a break, maybe, all right, we've been deliberating now for a couple of hours, let's take a 15-minute bathroom break. And that juror stepped into a restroom. And then the Fed plant walked in. And you know how the conversation went, something like this. You might want to reconsider your holdout. You might want to reconsider your no vote. Your son-in-law, blah, 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 and the business that he owns. Yeah, we can find some fraud charges on him. We can find that your wife has substance abuse issues. Well, we will make something happen that directly hits you. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You will go back in that delivery room and you will vote guilty for Donald Trump. Are we clear? Are we clear? I don't have any inside baseball information on this. This is a pure speculation. But the media and Joe Biden have got what they wanted now. They can call Trump a convicted felon. They're even joking about he can't even vote for himself now because convicted felons. Well, let's be careful. There will be an appeals process here. And more than likely, he will not be confined. He'll be released on his own recognizance pending the appeal. But then again, I put nothing past him because this is such a desperate act from Joe Biden and the Democrats. They can't beat Trump. Do I think they would love to incarcerate him? Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's what we have to do. We have to keep the pressure up. We've got to recruit more and more people for Trump. We've got to make his poll numbers go through the roof. These vermin in the swamp need to see this is the guy the American people want, and this is what's going to happen. And I think we need to remember it was the media who first coined the phrase fake news, referring to us, those of us who do this on YouTube. We were the quote unquote fake news. Remember, Donald Trump seized on that phrase, fake news, and he spun it around and he turned it back at the media. Fake news. They're all fake, 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 fake news back there. And now they hate that term, fake news. Hate it. Well, they love calling Donald Trump right now a convicted felon. I think we need to make that the new hashtag. I think we need to make that the new mantra. Vote for the felon. Vote for the felon. I think we need to put Trump's picture on t-shirts. Vote for the felon. I think we need billboards on that. I think we need to co-opt that phrase. The felon. He's a convicted felon. Great. And that's the guy we're going to vote for. We would rather have that than have Joe Biden. We want our economy fixed. We want our borders secure. We want America back. We want America first, not woke first. Not all of this pronoun bullhawk nonsense. We're going to be forced to sell our gas cars in the next 2 years and drive these electric battery operated pieces of junk. Enough of our freedoms being stripped away. Enough. Let's vote for the felon. And the more we talk about it openly and proudly, and I think Donald Trump even needs to, have banners made with that are waving it at all of his rallies. Vote for the felon. I think the media will lose its collective mind. You think they suffer from Trump derangement syndrome now? Oh, baby. I think he ought to do campaign appearances in an orange jumpsuit. Donald Trump has the ability to take this and spin it and turn it right back on him. And I think that is absolutely what he needs to do. Hey, you have yourself a great rest of this weekend. I am still away and will be back in studio on Monday. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That'll give you notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. That's the only way I get the word out. Put the link on your social media platforms. And thank you for being a part of the Afternoon Drive.